We're going to take a look at word problems using the quadratic formula now. So you can see our first question there is when a number is subtracted from 3 times its square, the result is 1. We need to write an equation and find the values for the number. So when we're looking at something like this, we're going to take a look at the wording first of all. When they say a number, we're going to replace that with x. So anywhere we see this number now, we put in x. So this number is subtracted from 3 times its square. Now, 3 times means whatever it is 3 something. And its square would be x squared. So here we have a number is subtracted from 3 times its square. So 3 times its square would look like this. And then the number is being subtracted from it. So the number is being subtracted, that's what we minus. The result then, result meaning equals, this equals to the number 1. So here is our equation now. Now when we're doing a quadratic equation, what we want to do is we want to make sure it's equal to 0 because then we can use our minus b formula. So I'm going to take that 1 that's on the right hand side and I'm going to move it to the left hand side. So it'll become 3x squared minus x and minus 1 equals 0. And now we're ready for our minus b formula. So in our minus b formula, we are going to have a equals b equals and c equals. A in this case is going to be the 3. B is going to be the number in front of x, which in this case is minus 1. Make sure you don't put the x in, you always put a number in. And then c is going to be the last one without an x, it's a minus 1. And we have our formula, and our formula is minus b plus and minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we're going to fill this formula in now with all the information that we have. And then we're going to put it into the calculator with a plus and put it into the calculator with a minus. So minus goes first and I put in my minus 1 for my b. Plus and minus stay there. And we do b again. B is minus 1 squared minus 4, which is in the formula. A comes next, and when we're filling in, we put it in a bracket. A is 3. C comes next, and it's minus 1. And we put that over 2 times A, which is 2 times 3. So we're going to put this into the calculator now, and we're going to write it as a plus, and we're going to write it as a minus. Now, when we put these in the calculator, it didn't say in this question, so I'm going to write down the third form and the decimal form. Usually in a question they will tell you they want you to round it to 3 decimal places or they want it in third form. So in this case they didn't, so I'll write both. So if I put the plus in, I end up with 1 plus the square root of 13 over 6. That's my plus. When I put in the minus then, I end up with 1 minus the square root of 13 over 6. And you'll see this happens a lot, that they're the same thing as each other, but one is a plus and one is a minus. When I check them in the calculator, and I'm going to round now to 4 decimal places, it's up to you if you want to round to a different decimal place. The first one then rounds to 0.76759, so that'll round up to be a 6. And finally then on the right hand side, this rounds up to be minus 0.434, and the next number, the 3, rounds up as well. So there are my 2 answers for my x values. So that's what the x values, the possible x values could have been to turn that into 0. So now let's take a look at our second question on the right hand side. And we can see here we have a rectangle, and when we're looking for a rectangle, we are being told that the area of this rectangle is 78. So what I need to figure out is, well, how do I find the area of the rectangle using the information given? So the area of this rectangle will be the multiplication of those 2. So x plus 4, that would be our length multiplied by our width. So there's going to be the area of my rectangle. So you can use boxes to multiply this out, whatever way you multiply it out. If you decide you're using the boxes or whatever method, you'll end up with x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 12. So do the boxes at the side and make sure you're getting that when you write it out. I'm just going to add together what I can, which is going to be giving me 7 and 12. Now what I have to remember is that the area is equal to 78. So this equals 78. Don't forget that bit. Okay, now I'm nearly ready now to create my minus b formula, but before I do, or to fill into my minus b formula, before I do that, remember it must equal to 0. So this 78 is going to need to move. So I'll have x squared and 7x and 12 minus 78 equals 0. and that'll turn into x squared and 7x minus 66 equals 0. And now I am ready to use my minus b formula to see what possible values of x we could use. So when we're doing our minus b formula, remember you must pick out a, b and c, and we take the number, don't take the letter. A is what is stuck in front of x squared, in this case that's a 1. B is what's going to be stuck beside x, that's a 7. And c is going to be a negative 66. And we fill into our minus b formula again. So our minus b formula, I write out, make sure that I'm getting my full marks. Make sure you take the formula down correctly, because if you don't get any marks for it. And I fill in minus, in for b goes 7, plus and minus square root 7 squared minus 4, in for a goes 1, in for c goes minus 66. And that goes all over 2 times 1. And again, it didn't tell me to write them in third form or as decimals, so I'm going to write both out here. So my first values, if I do my plus, what I'm getting here is minus 7 plus the square root of 313 over 2. If I have my minus, I have minus 7 plus the square root of 313 over 2. If I write them as numbers, then the first one turns into 5 point, and again I'm rounding to 4 decimals here, 3459. And my second one comes out to be minus 12.3459 as well. And again, you can see there is similarities between the two third forms. But if I look at the values, the decimal values, it's much clearer to see my two x values, what they are. Now, with an area and perimeter question, there are times where you're going to have to realise you can't use one of the x's. So if I take a look here at 5.3459, if I fill the 5.3459 in here for x, I get two whole numbers. Or two, sorry, not whole numbers, I get two positive numbers, so that's going to be fine. Whereas if I fill in the minus 12.3459, if I put minus 12 in here, minus 12.3459, add 4, that's going to give me a negative 8.3459. I can't have that as a length. So I'm not able to have a negative length there. So what I would have to say at the bottom here is that really the only value that I can have for x is this one here, because I can't have a negative value. Can't have a negative value for a length.